Hello everyone, we are back here on the TWNR with my co-host here, Killakanz.
Hey everybody.
And today we've been rostered into the maintenance of way department. Or the track laying department, in other words. So we have got to head up to the sawmill where we're going to be relaying a new yard. But before we do that, just going to bring you down here and introduce you all to our new locomotive, Lilia. Killakanz giving us a nice little toot there. But yeah, this is the Tier 2 Porter, which Killakanz probably knows more about this than what I do, to be fair.
I've driven a lot of these in recent weeks, yes.
Yeah.
It is pretty much the same as Betsy, but it does hold a lot more logs in the back here, so it doesn't run out of fuel quite as quickly, but it does still have the same amount of water in it. So, yeah, while it's not quite as crucial to keep her topped up on logs all the time, we still need to fill her up with water just as often as Betsy needs. So,
Yeah, so long term, this isn't going to be a road engine. But for now, it's a capable second loco. What we could afford, it's what we had the XP to unlock at the time. And what we're going to do is we're going to do a little bit of double heading action. And
well, we're going to run this round to the front, or we're going to do top and tail?
yeah, we'll do a bit of top and tail, I think. We managed to do it before without killing ourselves or the train, so the only question is, do you want the lead or the rear?
I could, well, do you want to drive Lilia since it's the new engine for your video?
Yep, we'll jump on board. And one thing we will do before that though is got a couple of handbrakes to release. I believe there's 2 on each end of the train. Drop those 2 off. So that one's free. Check. There's not any sneaky ones in the middle. Oh, yeah, this one's on and probably that one you're standing on as well.
I've just turned this one off.
Alright, so yep.
We should all be off now.
Probably both going to need to stoke up the fire a bit.
Yeah, Betsy's just warming up now. We are going to need water when we get to the other end.
Ah, yes. How are we doing? 153. So yeah, we could ideally do with some water later as well. Yep, we're coming up to temperature nicely.
Yeah, Betsy's warming up too, so she'll be ready to go very shortly.
Just set the reverser and release the brake. And Killakanz will give us the commands via the whistle so we know when to speed up, slow down, just so we don't jackknife the train.
Right, if I remember rightly, we are giving 2 toots on the whistle to notify of regulator. So, for example, when I start moving, it'll be 2 toots. And then when I take the power off again, it'll be 2 toots. And then we use 1 toot to signify that brake is being applied.
Sounds good to me.
I believe that was the system we were using last week, so...
That does sound familiar, so pretty sure, yeah, that would be the correct ones.
Okay, then we are up to temperature, so I think Betsy is ready to get rolling. So
And there we go.
And away we go.
Give it a little bell action as we pull out. Even though there's in real terms no one around to hear it, apart from us. Which is probably worth mentioning while we take this little run up here. We are looking to recruit extra staff probably in the coming weeks. With us having a couple of locos now, so we can run 2 full trains. And we may be in a position soon to add even more locos and rolling stock. So if you are interested, just pop over to Killakanz's Discord channel. I'll post a link down in the description. Or Killakanz will no doubt give a link in his video. And yeah, we'll be happy to have you.
Alright, so it looks like we're on the main line to the sawmill right now, so we're just cruising along at about 26% throttle.
Yep, we're 25% this end, so pretty much matched on that.
It's been quite a while since I've driven a Porter one. I forget just how wobbly these ones are. The Mark II Porter is a lot more stable because of that rear axle.
Yeah, I was just about to say, we're not wobbling quite as much as we normally do. There is still a bit of shaking going on there.
Unfortunately, Betsy is really bad for the wobbling because she is an 040, but yeah, the Mark II is an 042, so it does have that extra bit of stability.
Right now we are passing one of the areas we do need to realign the track. Had that track bed actually laid ready for a little while now. I've just never gotten around to straightening out that section. Weave my camera through the trees. And there's our signal. Ah yes, we're routed round on the loop this time.
Yep, looks like we're going all the way around the back.
This will of course give you an opportunity to see my rather over-engineered buffer stop on the left coming up though. I will admit I got a bit carried away on that one.
Yeah, I think I can see it now. There it is.
Needless to say, they won't all be engineered to that standard.
Oh, that's pretty good. Okay, then we can just roll into the platform here.
Touch the brakes.
And there we go. So top and tailing works quite well when you've got two drivers. Now then, I think what we should probably do while we still have fire temperature, and before we completely run out of water, is perhaps refueling the locos.
Ah, yes.
I could detach this end and then run away, run around that way. And you could detach that end and just reverse around to the water tower.
Yep. Let's pop a couple of handbrakes on before we leave the train. Otherwise, whoever gets back first will probably end up punting the train down to the other person.
Alright, got 2 handbrakes applied on this end as well. And I will probably meet you at the water tower.
Yep. In fact, I'll probably get there first. I've only got one set of points to change.
That's true, I've got sort of 2 sides of a triangle to get around. So we should probably mention that the developers released a patch today. So among various improvements, they have added the whoops daisies. They have added the ability for clients to hear whistles from locomotives at a much higher distance. So as long as you are within the client's draw distance and you blast your whistle, I should be able to hear you.
Excellent.
There have been a number of other bug fixes, including some of the loading issues that we had for the tool mill, but the ironworks, although our playthrough is quite some way off that yet. And they have also improved spline draw distances, so the tracks don't have quite so much detail at long distance, and that should improve performance somewhat.
Oh, that will be very helpful then, especially situations such as this where we're live streaming or recording. That can hit the performance somewhat. So if you release the breakneck. I'm going to use the external view again now, so I can get lined up a bit better for the water tower. So, that open. And down the crane. Get it somewhere close. And yes, get too close. Right is left and left is right.
Yep. I've just refilled your firewood for you.
Thank you very much. 374, 394, 412. 454, 474, 492, and that should be it for us. I do like how you can just hold on the boom arm now and it will rise or fall, rather than trying to pull it down in increments.
Yeah, that's a really handy improvement, that one. You can literally just click and hold and it will move all the way. That was actually one of the other bugs that they fixed in today's patch. There was an issue where clients would sometimes see the spout of the water towers in the ground,
Oh,
and
wow.
because it was being drawn in the wrong place, the moment they clicked it, their game crashed, and that had been an issue for a while. And yeah, happy to say that they fixed that today in the patch. So. Let's get Betsy lined up. Here we go. And yes, that water gauge in the cab is looking very low at the moment. So.
There we go. That's how to do it like a pro. Straight down. Will admit, I did drop a little bit of water on the floor.
I'm sure that'll be all right. Okay, and Betsy is full already. That is one thing about these little porters, they do fill up very quickly.
Certainly be interesting from perspective, see how larger locos fare when loading both the wood and the water. Potentially also the sand.
Yes, indeed. Some of the bigger locomotives, the Class 70 is the biggest locomotive in the game at the moment, and that is a tender locomotive. And that holds 6,000 units of water in the tender. When you compare that to our porters here that only carry 500 each, that's quite a lot.
Yeah, that's...
And you could probably visually count how much firewood Lilia has here, but yeah, the tenders of the Class 70 holds something like 1,600 of them.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, that's a lot of firewood.
So that's essentially 4 of our firewood depots full.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. All good things to look forward to. But anyway, on to today, where we're going to do some track work.
So yeah, today we're going to be showing off the track laying system in the game, and show everybody that you really do create your own networks in this game. When you start off the map, there's just a little bit of track over at the freight depot where locomotives and wagons and things spawn on when you buy them. But other than that, you build it all yourself. So, for example, what we're seeing here at the sawmill, at the start of the game, there were no tracks here whatsoever. Everything you see here at the sawmill, except for the sawmill itself, had to be built by player, shall we say.
Indeed. Now, as you can see, there is a yard here at the moment. But if you look, you can see it sort of a bit slopey.
That's not quite level, is it?
No. So we are going to rebuild this and hopefully end up with something even better. This is where we get to use the bulldozer.
This is indeed. We get to demolish a bit before we start rebuilding. So. And suddenly flashbacks of so many other games where you've, built up rails, decided you weren't happy with it, demolish it, start again. It's happening all over again in this game now, isn't it?
Oh, yes. I've lost count of how many times on Transport Fever I've built a ripped it out, started again. Or in the case of Trains 2019, started a route, wasn't happy, ripped it out, and never actually got as far as showing anyone my progress. It is something I'd like to return to one day.
Okay, these switches, I was about to say, these switches look like they are on level ground. So...
They are. My only concern is the ground does kind of rise up here, and I don't know if there's a better orientation for the yard, or whether we're surrounded by higher ground everywhere.
I wonder if we could probably bring it up a little bit. I am wondering if we might be able to get these switches on a slight uphill gradient. And if we went up a little bit more, we might then be able to get the straight lane bits on a flat level.
It's possible, or if we were to curve everything a bit more, it does look like we've got more length in this direction. Flat.
Yeah, that's true, because it looks like we do have a couple of hills just down to the south here, don't we?
Yeah.
But it still looks fairly flat towards the west-northwest.
Yeah, in fact, this does go back quite a long way. Yeah, that would possibly be our best option.
Yeah, we could possibly curve things around a bit then.
I apologise for the trees that were ripped out, but who knows, maybe you'll reappear someday.
So I'm just putting these switches down as a rough outline for a curve going around into a yard.
Oops. So possibly a couple more before we get the ideal direction.
Either that, or we could attempt to do a sharper turn than these switches. I mean, these switches are only, if I remember rightly, I think they're just 12 degrees. I think. But they're not an exact curve, which is the other thing. So
true, though if we were to leave these in, we could curve the other tracks, follow the orientation of the rightmost one when we're finished. In effect, we start our sidings back here. I guess the other question is, how long do we want our sidings?
Well, the way I tend to answer that is, how long do you want your trains to be?
Indeed. Hopefully, they are going to be able to improve the client-side draw distance to allow us to have longer trains that we can both see. That's my hope. I was going to say, I do have a reference point if you needed it for flat.
That looks like I got it.
Yeah, actually. That's something I am hopeless at, is trying to lay new groundworks underneath existing track.
Yeah, it's the fine tuning of it. But yeah, if you've got a reference for what was the flat when it started. Ooh. Now, if this was the reference for where it started up there is a slight downward slope in these switches then, because these switches, well, these sleepers here are slightly under the ground level. Just have a look at these two on the end here.
Oh, yes.
So we would probably be better off using this one here. Because that's not perfectly spot on, but it's very, very close. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think that one's certainly workable.
Now then, how far back can we go from this in a straight line before we start losing our flat ground?
Quite away, I'd say, as I can no longer see you.
Aha, this far back. Okay.
Can't see the Killakanz for the trees.
There you go. I'll just put down the new bit of groundwork. That's as far back as we can go before we lose our flat ground. And that is quite long, considering that this will be the shortest lane due to the point setup. Yeah. And a Peter Salad just hit the follow button on my Twitch, so thank you very much for joining the channel.
Welcome. Hope we put on a good show for you.
So now that we've got this groundwork down, we can yeet a few trees. Because there are definitely a few that are in the way. Oh, there goes a flying one.
Oh, and another one.
Oh, that was launching into space. Yeah, the ones that are already inside the groundworks, they do kind of launch a bit when you try and chop them down. Oh no, we've got a spinner there.
Yeah, I find the best ones are the ones that are just on the beveled edge.
Just on the edge of it, yeah.
Especially if you've got a nice high bit of groundworks. They're the best ones.
I want that one out of the way as well. Okay, that might not be a perfectly straight-lined groundworks, but that doesn't really matter just now.
No, to be fair, is once we put down a straight track, we can.
Right, so
from that.
for people watching on my stream, the easiest way to do a straight track off a point is to put one of these 90 cross sections on there, and then when you start the track on this join, and then click on the second join after that, when you then press the Alt button, it snaps into a perfectly straight line, and then you can just run it back and create a perfectly straight bit of track off the point work. nice and easy.
And if you're watching my video, you get to see Killakanz doing the moonwalk.
Oh, I just messed that one up. Whoops. I don't know how that went wrong. I fell through the world and then it created a spline point underneath the groundworks.
Is this the episode where Thomas falls into the mine?
It kind of looks like it, doesn't it? Oh well, let's correct this. As we've pointed out a couple of times, the game is still early access, so there are a couple of moments where it's a bit, ooh, how did it do that? But yeah, it's not terrible for an early access game. You know, it's perfectly playable, and you can do most things with the game without too much trouble at all. Although I was about to say you can do most things because one of the bugs that they fixed in today's patch was that until today we couldn't actually sell tools at the freight depot, and now we can.
Time for some more tree eating. Oh, look at that one wanted to come see you.
Yeah, it seems the first bit of groundwork I put down wasn't quite straight. The line here is finished right in between the two groundworks that we got here. So that couldn't have got any more in the middle.
It'll all work out fine though in the end. Of course, we will lay the groundworks to bury the sleepers.
And as Tater Salad just said on my Twitch chat, yep, new update, new bugs. Well, it's one of those things about video game development, isn't it? You know, they fix a couple of bugs and introduce a couple more. It's just the way how things are balanced, you know.
And for those of you that can actually see my screen, the trick I learned watching, I think it was Grumpy Old Man, something to that effect anyway. I will have to look up the name of the fella, but I was watching a random stream at the weekend and he had this neat little trick for making track bumpers in the American style, which is simply you just drag off the end of your track and come back a couple of sleepers and it raises up the end and creates an effective little bumper. Whilst it's not as impressive as the monstrosity I built over at the sawmill, it's worked just as well. Oh wow. Yes, we do have quite a difference in grade back at this far end.
Alright, let's see how smooth that curve came out. Oh, that's not bad.
Ah,
It's got a little bit of a kink there, but we'll straighten that out.
certainly workable. Nothing wrong with that. As we get down to this end, we are disappearing into the weeds a little bit.
Got a few more trees to get rid of as well. Oh, you got a spinner there.
A super spinner.
Yeah. The tree I just chopped down just leaned up against this one and didn't actually do anything. Just disappeared. See what this one does. Oh, slow spinner. Nearly whacked me in the face.
If you were to drag some groundworks off this section up here, you'll see by the time you get to the point it's about 5% off, or 0.5% off, I think it is.
Although these groundworks are raised up at track level rather than track building
That is
level,
a good
so
point, yes.
we might be alright with that. How many lanes were we having here? Did we want another switch?
Yep, if we go for another switch off there. Ah, yes, that's pretty much spot on. So, yeah, that was my imagination there. That gives us 4. Fortunately, I am going to have to demolish one set of points, though. So we can have the switch arm on the opposite side. Oh, button to lock it in. In fact, I've just realised my mistake. I need to delete those pieces of track, delete this piece of track bed. And with a whole new piece. There. You may be able to get away with... Yep, that's going to clear that switch nicely.
Yeah, it should be alright there.
Should give
Just
us
about.
6 lanes when we're finished.
I'll just create the 4th lane off this one. I think this one might be surrendering to the hillside. We are getting a bit too close to the hill on this side now. So I think the outermost lanes might need to be a little bit shorter.
Yeah, I think we'll be okay on that though, because obviously they're going to be starting further back, so overall length should still be in line.
So I don't know if you were seeing what I was doing to get these curves all nice and parallel and roughly similar looking. But I was using another switch to act as my curve guide. So for example, if I just put down a temporary switch right there, and put that down, and that does not seem to have worked quite so well as the previous ones. Yeah, with these two, I basically just put a switch down here, put a 90-degree cross section about here-ish, and then just replace the switch with a curve, and it seemed to line up just perfectly for these 3 lanes, but this one doesn't seem to want to for some reason.
Oh no, the geometry would be different, wouldn't it?
I suppose it might well be, yeah, because this is on a straight now, isn't it?
Yeah. Whereas we've got a straight on this second road, curve on the third road that bring them pretty much into line.
So I'm going to need my curve to come from somewhere else, aren't I?
Fortunately, not even going to be able to use one off here as a reference.
Hang on a minute. What we need to do is recreate what's happened here, so... Alright, hold on a second. Hold on to your hats, I've got this one. So what I need to do is delete that point and change it so that we've got one aligned like that. And then we'll have another point coming off here, and then that's the one that I can line up the curve with, I believe. I think. Yeah, no. No, that won't work actually, no. Sorry, it seemed to work in my mind, but thinking about it, no, it doesn't actually, so... So let's put this one back. There we go. I guess I'm just going to have to eyeball this one. About there, I think.
You put temporary, give you an idea if it's parallel or not.
That looks about as close as we're going to get. That curve came out pretty well, actually, although it's done that little Scandinavian flick that it likes to do just up here as well.
Yeah, I have managed to get away from that in a couple of places, but essentially it relies on you laying lots of very small segments. It can get a little bit tedious. Get the groundworks in for this one.
Ooh. Hang on a minute, that wasn't going straight.
No, that's
That definitely wasn't going straight. Did I forget to click the Alt button? Because that definitely wasn't a straight line.
I think that's a distinct possibility on that one. Anyway, I think that's going to be about all the time we have on the video side. Reminder, if you are watching the live stream over on Killakanz Twitch channel, stay with us. We aren't ending the stream just yet. It's only the recorded video that we'll be stopping. But hopefully it's given you guys a flavour of what's involved with the track laying, how much thought you have to put into things, a few ideas and tips maybe on the actual track laying side of it. Any thoughts, comments, suggestions? We'll both be willing to read them down in the comments. But other than that, any final words from you, Killakanz?
We'll see you next week, I guess.
There we go. Couldn't say it any better myself. So thank you very much for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one. Bye for now.
Cheerio.